Hi, I'm Kai Cheng Thom, and you're watching Ask Kai Quick Tips for the Apocalypse, a series of short videos in which I answer your questions about how to survive and thrive, by which I mean, like, have sex and date and talk to your friends uh, at the end of the world. The question is, how do I have group sex that isn't weird? I personally am of the school of it's always going to be weird. And I don't just mean group sex, I mean all sex. And all sex until the end of time. Relationships, conversations, um, wearing clothing, not wearing clothing. Everything you do is probably going to be weird. If you are, like me, an awkward queerdo. And so I offer this to you not as a message of despair, dear ones, but a message of hope and accessibility. If you, like me, are an awkward, weird person, you are not shut out of group sex forever. There is actually some science that shows that when we are feeling anxiety, there is a physiological component that directs blood away from our extremities and into the core of the body, which for most people is pretty challenging when it comes to sex because a lot of people like to have good blood flow down there. It engorges the genitalia, it makes our fingertips more sensitive, it makes our face more sensitive, it makes us more easily aroused. So anything that creates anxiety, like trying to appear not weird, or trying to avoid the judgment of others as being a weird person, is more likely to make us feel weird on the inside. And feeling weird on the inside is more likely to make us not have fun, delicious sex. Let's release the idea of not awkward. What we can go for, of course, is consensual, well communicated. In my experience, both personal and talking to other people, um, it's quite easy to sort of kind of slide into or get into a group sex situation where you're really not into either some of the people or all of the people. And that's where a lot of the challenging stuff begins, because it's hard to navigate consent and desire in that space. Sometimes we do that because we're like, I would really like to have sex with this person or these people, but not those people who are also here, and that becomes really tricky. Um, and then sometimes we are doing group sex with people we don't really want to because we're like, I want to be adventurous and have group sex, but we're not really wanting the people that we're doing this adventure with. I would say, like, really embodied, pleasure focused consent is about looking at consent as a bit more of like a spectrum. Do I really, really want to do something and I know I'll love it? Do I want to try something and I'm pretty sure I'll like it? Do I want to experiment with something and I don't know if I'll like it, but maybe I will or maybe I won't, and then in which case I'll stop. Or am I willing to do something because, it'll make someone else feel happy and I'm still willing in my body? It's not going to hurt me or traumatize me or cause me disgust to do it. I'm willing because it makes someone else happy. Or am I kind of just going along to get along and it does cause me pain or disgust or disgust or distress, right? So that's kind of a basic spectrum of more complex consent, and that's kind of helpful to access when we get into any situation, but particularly when it's like group, because then that means we can tap into what area of consent am I in and who am I doing this for? And really, I think sex becomes much easier, especially group sex, when we are able to communicate what we want, what we don't want, and what we're going to try. And it can be really helpful in the group sex situation to have that conversation as a group in advance. Something that sometimes I'll just throw in at the beginning of like a situation is like, hey, everyone, and I just want to say, I want everyone here to have a great time and only do things that they want to do or want to try to do and not anything they don't, right? And then when you say that right before the start, everyone will usually be like, aha, because that's the decent thing to want and to do. But setting the tone and helping people remember that, it's really actually reminding everyone in the group that they're allowed to say no to stuff. And if you're like a closer knit group and there's more time, it actually is also sometimes helpful to say like just to drop in reminders like sometimes we want to do some things with certain people and not things with others, and that's okay. You don't need to take care of other people by like having kinds of sex that you don't want to have with them. That's not like really a taking care of. That actually is like a boundary slippage that could be harmful to you and also pretty harmful to them. So really important to hang on to doing things we want to do or that we want to try, and not doing things we don't want to do to please, and saying that out loud at the beginning and also kind of throughout also like it is pretty important. If you notice other people looking weird, you can just tell them that, like, hey, you know, you don't have to do this, or you know, the kind of positive spin on this is, do you like this? It's okay if you don't, right? Like, or do you like this? We can do something else, right? Like other kind of more positive framings. Sometimes people find it easier to say, yeah, let's do something else than, no, I didn't like that. So that's really helpful. And here's the thing, you know, when we release the idea of not being weird, then we're also more able to detect other people's looking weird, which means that they're feeling weird, which means that we can then check in with them. And so that actually then shifts our paradigm again away from like, well, I can't be weird and also they can't be weird, to I want to have a good time and I want them to have a good time. And most of all, I want to feel respected and I want them to feel respected. So it's those checking ins that are really important. Really staying grounded in what we want and what we don't want, and knowing that all of that is okay, and then offering that okayness to others. You know, what do they want? What do they not want? So that's it. That's the answer. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kai Cheng Thom. This has been Ask Kai. Quick tips for the apocalypse. Stay safe. Be kind to yourselves. The world is dangerous and possibly collapsing. It's still possible to choose kindness. And maybe that is surviving the apocalypse, like the survival of our souls. I don't know, I'm getting really mushy here, but be good to yourselves. Be good to others. See you next time.